If somebody wants to give up the Shastra or the book and do whatever they like, that's what is happening in America, it's what is happening in Europe. They don't follow any scripture, not even Bible. I went to all the countries. I went to Germany, I went to France, I went to Switzerland, I lived in America. The modern day materialistic thinking people, hedonistic, खाओ पियो और मजा करो, enjoy करो, बस इतना ही है उनका. The whole philosophy is only that much. That is called Charvaka theory in our ancient times. The Charvaka theory says, आप जितना enjoy करेंगे वही जन्नत है, जब मर जाएंगे वही मोक्ष है. अब जितना ये जिंदगी है वही सब कुछ है, कोई भगवान नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है. ये चार्वाका theory है, materialistic hedonistic theory. It was defeated by everybody. Even Rama was advised by Charvakas, don't go to forest, be here, fight your father and take your rightful throne. He said, no, I'll follow my words of my father. He went to the forest. So, now coming to the next, that is, nature of God. Now, Ham Sarvasya Prabhavo Mata Sarva Pravartate. I am the originator of everything and everything comes out of me. What is God? All of you know, you are all praying every day, 3 times or 5 times. But if we ask a basic question, what is God? A lot of people don't want to answer. It is taken for granted or taken as assumed. But by definition, in the Brahma Sutras, the first sentence of Brahma Sutras gives a definition of God. Janmadhyasya yataha. In the Upanishad also, yato va imani bhutani jayante yena jatani jivanti yasmin pravishanti tad brahma. That means that God is that from which everything comes out. Matta sarvasya prabhavo. Everything is coming out of me. And in which everything sustains and into which everything dissolves. Yato va imani bhutani jayante yena jatani jivanti yasmin pravishanti. Janmadhyasya yataha. Janma, Srishti, Sthiti, Laya. These 3 principles are there, which are described as Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwar, which are associated with 3 qualities of Jnana Shakti, Ichha Shakti and Kriya Shakti. Creation, Brahma, is possible only if you have the knowledge, which is the Jnana Shakti, which is Saraswati. That is why Brahma's wife is, there is no wife or there is no husband. It is just a poetic depiction. And sustenance is possible only with love. Look at that child is doing so many things, but the mother is sustaining because of love. Not because of knowledge, but because of love. So the power of love, Ichha Shakti, is Lakshmi. And Vishnu is the sustainer. And finally everything has to dissolve. There is nothing permanent in this world. So that is Laya, that is Durga, Kriya Shakti, and Shiva is the Layakar. So all the 3 put together is Adi Parashakti, Ichha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti. Like is Mahasaraswati, Mahalakshmi, Mahadurga, Parvati. All 3 put together is Adi Parashakti, which is going to be the next festival of Dasara, where we have the 9 days of 9 different principles. One day it will be Saraswati, one day it will be Lakshmi, one day it will be something else. All different powers of nature. The whole thing put together is nature. Mola Prakriti Avyakta, Vyakta, Vyakta Swarupini. Either manifest or unmanifest. It is not so simple just to imagine like a lot of people do. If you look at the mass population, they don't go deep into any of these subjects. They will assume some God and go on praying either Hindu or Muslim or Christian, and that's the end of it. Nobody is bothered to understand Gita or Quran or Bible. I heard that 90% of the Muslims don't understand Quran. And I can say 99% of the Hindus have never read Gita also. They never. If you tell Bhagavad Gita, oh, something is there, they may acknowledge that there may be there one book called Bhagavad Gita, except that they don't know anything. Let alone Vedas. Vedas are too far. Vedas are very complicated and in a old language. The summary of the Vedas is the Bhagavad Gita, but even that most of the Hindus don't read. And Christians also, Bible, I think they read Bible, but they may not understand fully what is being said there. Because there are many statements in Bible which most Christians don't understand. I have addressed many Christian fathers and pastors and bishops. Like for example, the kingdom of God is within you. What does that mean? They don't understand. And I and my Father are one. What does it mean? They don't understand. Thou shalt love thy Lord thy God with all thy soul, with all thy word, with all thy mind, and thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. What does it mean? I and my neighbor and God all are becoming one with love. They cannot understand, it's very difficult. So, here we are showing from the Bible also the same thought in each principle. Next. Yo mama ajam anadim cha vetti sarvabhuta maheshwaram. He is explaining in the Gita the nature of God. Actually, let me put it this way. The author of a book will convey the thoughts in the book, not the character. It is the Vyasa who is conveying all these thoughts. It is Valmiki who conveyed the Ramayana. So these thoughts are taken from the Brahma Sutras and the Upanishads. Vyasa himself wrote the Brahma Sutras also. Badarayana is called. Next. Avyaktam vyaktimapannam manyante mama buddhaya param bhavam ajananto mama bhutam heshu. This is a very important statement. Only fools think that I am an individual person. Manifest. Avyaktam vyaktimapannam, vyakti. Because mostly the people who believe in God, pray to God, they assume that God is a person. He is a person. Only thing is they don't have his mobile number. Except that they assume that he is a person. And they will call him, they will do all kinds of things. Some people treat God as a child, Balakrishna. And some people treat God as father, like in Christianity, father. Some people treat God as brother or sister or mother. All these are for the convenience. Because the individual human beings are emotional. They can relate only to such relationships. They cannot understand very abstract philosophy. But truth has to be accepted. Here the statement is very clear. I am not a person, human person. Avyaktam vyaktimapannam manyante mam abuddhaya param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Abuddhaya, fools. They think I am a person. So, the Parabrahman, Om, is the source of all creation, sustenance and dissolution, cannot be a person. Even in the ISKCON movement, it is interpreted as a person, Krishna. It is only for convenience. But Krishna himself says, I am not a person. Now, it is a very important question that arises. Who is saying this? Vyasa is saying it through the character of Krishna. But Krishna was born and he died. I went to all the places of his life. I went to the place where he was born, I went to the place where he died, and I went to the place where he lived and he ruled and everywhere. Now, when he said this in the Gita, he is not a human being personality. He is identifying himself with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's why he is able to say this. I am not a person. Avyaktam vyaktimapannam manyante mama buddhaya param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. They don't know that I am the Lord of all beings. Parastasmatu bhavo anyo avyakto avyaktat sanatana. Now he is explaining the 8th chapter, the most abstract philosophical discussion. To understand that, I will take you to physics. Now, in physics, there are two physics. One is classical physics, other is modern physics. In the classical physics or Newtonian physics, this universe is made up of 4 entities: matter, energy, space and time. The 4 fundamental entities, they are absolute. So all forms of matter, you can see all forms of energy, electricity, mechanical and so on, and space and time. That is the old physics, classical physics of Newton. But Einstein and Max Planck and others, quantum physics and relativistic physics proved that space and time are not absolute. Because if you travel in a velocity very, very high compared to the velocity of light, your space will be reduced and your time will be reduced by a factor of root of 1 minus v square plus c square, where v is your velocity, c is velocity of light. What is the velocity of light? Can anybody tell? What is the velocity of light? 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meters per second. 3 into 10 to the power of 5 kilometers per second. That means 3 lakh kilometers per second. If you travel in a rocket, which is say half of that speed, 1.5 lakhs kilometers per second, then your time will be reduced to half and your space will be reduced to half. If you travel at velocity equal to velocity of light, your space is 0 and your time is 0. Because root of 1 minus v square by c square. V is equal to c, become 1 by 1, 1. 1 minus 1 is 0, root of 0 is 0. So this is Einstein's theory, not mine, special theory of relativity. So using these principles, he has proved that matter and energy are interconvertible. First of all, space and time are not absolute. They don't exist at the velocity of light. If you go at a velocity greater than that of light, they become negative. Root of negative number, square of it will be negative number. So the space and time are totally gone. So what is remaining is matter and energy, and he derived the equation E is equal to mc square, where it is shown that matter and energy are the same. Matter can be converted to energy, energy can be converted to matter. Atom bomb में क्या होता है? Matter is converted to energy. E is equal to mc square shows if you take 1 gram of matter, the energy which is converted out of 1 gram is 1 into c square. C is 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meters per second. That means 9 into 10 to the power of 16 meters per second. Then joules, so many watts of energy will be there. It will explode the whole city or whole country. That is the power of conversion of 1 gram of matter. So that is shown in the atom bomb as a proof. Einstein's theories have already been proven in many ways, though now there are some questions also being raised. But in principle, in general, it is accepted by all over the world. So here, what is showing is that kind of a thing. Parastasmat bhavo anyo avyakto avyaktat sanatana. So there is a power which is unmanifest, and it is greater and even eternal, more ancient and more eternal than the unmanifest also. So this is that, if you ask that question, what is the truth in physics? That matter and energy are just manifestations of some X, we'll say X. The X is appearing as different forms of matter, different forms of energy, and whether it is matter or energy depends on the observer's observation. Because if you have a particular experiment, you can see light as particles, matter, or you can see light as waves or energy, depending on your observation. So that is why the dual nature of matter and energy also is proposed by de Broglie. Every particle is also a wave and every wave is also a particle. So energy and matter are one and the same. It depends on how you perceive it, in what experiment, what instrumentation you are perceiving it. So this is very abstract theory of relativity. Now here he is telling something like that only. The ultimate truth is beyond manifestation, the unmanifest, beyond the unmanifest also. What is manifest and what is unmanifest? Manifest universe is what you see. But the unmanifest is the avyakta. From the avyakta vyaktaya sarva prabhavantya haragame. He says next, before creation, whatever was there, that is avyakta. From avyakta came all this creation. And again it will go back to the avyakta at the end of creation, some 2 billion years or whatever it is. At the end of the entire creation, it will go back. So it is something very, very abstract. That is called Brahman in Vedanta, in Upanishads. It is also represented by Om. And that is popularly known as God. Popularly known as Sat. In the Satchidananda, Sat is this, the essence of existence. And what is Chit? Because the observer is very important. Till now we have been discussing about the observation and experimentation, which means there is an observer. Suppose there is no observer, there cannot be an observation, and there cannot be any proof of existence of any universe. Suppose I am not there, I don't know whether the universe exists or not. First I must be there. Then question is, who am I is the question. Observer, who is this observer? The observer is a conscious being, sentient being, intelligence, spark of intelligence. That is called Chit. So Sat and Chit. And the experience of this in the spiritual Samadhi is called Ananda. Satchidananda is the definition of God. This is what is the Upanishads and the Vedas have taught, and all the saints have taught. Yeah. Om, that's what is shown here. Om Tat Saditi Brahmanaha. Om is the original minimum description of Parabrahman. Tat is that, same English Tat, T-H-A-T, is not that but is Tat. Sat is truth. That is what I told you just now. That which is both matter and energy, manifests as matter and energy, depending on your observation. So that X is Tat, X, and that is Brahman. And this is totally science. There is no blind belief and faith and all that doesn't exist. This It's just pure science. And Einstein also studied the Upanishads and the Vedas. He was a scholar of Sanskrit. All the German scientists were scholars of Sanskrit. He discussed with Rabindranath Tagore in Sanskrit language when they met first time. And so they got the ideas from the Upanishads, and they have used it in physics with the help of mathematics. Because the difference between philosophy and science is, in philosophy there is no proof, whereas in science proof will be there with mathematics. But concept can be same. Infinity, that is Satchidananda Om Tat Sat Iti Nirdesho Brahmana. So now these are some other descriptions from the other texts. Go further. Yeah. Now coming to human beings, the creation process in our scriptures, there are 84 lakhs of species along with human being created at the beginning of creation. In Srimad Bhagavatam also and everywhere it is mentioned. When the creation cycle starts, Brahma starts the creation cycle. Some 2 million years is the cycle. At that time, all the 84 lakh species are created. Human beings are not like Darwin theory is all bogus, saying that man has come from monkey and all that. If man has come from monkey, then why monkey is still there? That question arises. If monkey has come from donkey, then why donkey is still there? So it's all nonsense. All beings are simultaneously created according to our scriptures, and they may evolve within themselves due to the environmental factors. But it's not that one is coming out of the other. It is not possible. And in the West today, in America or in Europe, there's a big fight going on. Bible versus Darwin. Bible doesn't accept Darwin and Darwin doesn't accept Bible. And the Bible also is not giving any scientific theories. In fact, unfortunately, in the West, they had a big fight between science and religion. That is why the word secular came in. So, whereas it's not the case in the East, science and religion are one and the same. The Veda is science also and religion also. Gita is science also, religion also. It's not that they are two opposites. That is all complete distortion, lack of correct understanding. And I was told that in Quran also there are a number of statements which are tallying with the scientific statements. And this is what we are showing here. Because I don't know Arabic and Quran, I am only focusing on the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, when the human being was evolved, naturally it has to be somewhere in the beginning. Kashyapa Prajapati, then he created all other beings, and Brahma created Kashyapa Prajapati, and then Manu came, and Manu created the laws. The Manusmriti is the constitution of India at that time, or the world. And then they spread out to other countries. We are talking of very, very, very long periods, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 years. The huge period of lakhs of years. Because you may say, how is it scientific? I will tell you the scientific basis. The Rig Veda, which is the oldest known text of human being on the earth, has described the Saraswati river as a very big river. Nadi Tame, Ambi Tame, oh mother, the greatest mother, greatest river. And today, not only today, even at the time of Mahabharata, Saraswati river dried up. There is no river, only underground it is there. Even in Prayag you will find only underground. Or if you go to Adibadri, where it is born in the Himalayas, I went there, it is only underground. But when was it a huge river, the bigger river than Ganga, Yamuna, 10 kilometers, more than 10 kilometers width, not length, width. When was it? That was the time the Rig Veda has been recorded. So that will go back to more than 40,000, 50,000 years. Because around 4000 BC itself, Saraswati river dried up. Because the Pandavas, when they fought the war, they fought the war at Kurukshetra. They wanted to do, this Tilovadakas, the holy waters for the dead souls. They couldn't get water of Saraswati there. There's a place called Pehova. They have taken bore water from underground. I have also gone there. I have also taken bath from bore water only, not on the surface, only canals will be there, no water, it's all dried up, before Mahabharata itself. So this was recorded by NASA satellite imagery that Saraswati river exists underground, even today, underground only. All the branches, all these junctions, the sangams are all there underground. And people go there and perform holy baths by bringing bore water from there. In Jaisalmer, there is a Sangam. It's all desert, nothing is there. But they will bring water from underground and take bath thinking it is a holy water. So the proof that Saraswati river existed is there from NASA's satellite imagery, and Rigveda refers to it. That is the proof that Rigveda is real, and the time also you can calculate to more than 40,000 years. It may be more 50, 60, 70, because there was there even long earlier, but up to 4000 BC, 5000 BC, it dried up completely. So the big way it was there around 40,000 years ago. So we are talking about Vedic civilization of about 40,000 years. In fact, if you go to Kurukshetra, you will find a continuity of 1 lakh years, because in Meerut we have the old Stone Age site, and we have the Saraswati river, and if you take all that connection, continuity, you have a continuity of 1 lakh years of human civilization. And the Vedas were composed on the banks of Saraswati river at that time. And those spots are also there, where Vasishta lived, where Vishwamitra lived. Those are all temples. Now I went to many of those spots. They are actually there. It is not a cock and bull story given in some other books. Yeah, we'll go to the last table. So this way, I have taken only around 10 or 12 common quotations which are similar. But if you dig up Mr. Mushtakh, Ahmad and Masood and others, I am sure they can find more than 100 or 200 common statements. So apart from that, apart from what all we discussed is about God, about origin of man, about origin of universe, etc. But apart from that, the dharma, the ethics, the basic principles of values of truth, non-violence, non-stealing, non-acceptance, charity, chastity, purity, and about 30 values I have taken from the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita and also from the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Now in the Bhagavad Gita we have 18 chapters. So in the 18 chapters, the first chapter is only about Arjuna asking Krishna to cancel the war. I want to ask you all one question. Why do you think the war was conducted at Kurukshetra? Anybody knows? Why is it that Dhritarashtra decided Kurukshetra as the location for the biggest war, world war at that time? Anybody knows? Because Kurukshetra is a holy place, like Kasi, like Makkah. So what